Hey, what's up everybody? I'm the Project CUE Editor-in-Chief Justin Joseph, and I'm here with our video review for the second hardcore Wii title of the month. Rainbow Studios and THQ made quite the statement with Deadly Creatures, and I'm going to tell you if it was a statement worth listening to. The concept of this game has never really been seen before, and for good reason. Humans in general are repulsed by the mere thought of insects and arachnids, let alone actually seeing them, so in that light, the developers took a big risk. But for those that can brave a tarantula, a scorpion, and various other creepy crawlies scurrying about on their gaming monitor, there's an interesting little brawler to enjoy here. Even more interesting is that there is some semblance of a story. Famous actors Dennis Hopper and Billy Bob Thornton lead the charge in filling the shoes of a pair of humans on the hunt for buried treasure. Thornton voices the game's opening monologue in describing someone he knew that was driven completely by greed who eventually fell at the hands of deadly creatures. If nothing else, the way the plot unfolds is neat because you experience a logical disconnection as you switch between playing the tarantula and scorpion, but by itself it's nothing inherently special. Visually, Deadly Creatures is definitely a looker on Wii, especially considering most other games on the platform. The tarantula and scorpion have a very appropriate sinister appearance, and all the enemies you defeat look authentic enough to keep your fingers tense around those controllers of yours. The environments also have a nice variety in that you navigate deserts, the underground, the insides of giant plants, and even man-made objects. The overall detail and texture definition isn't what it could have been though, so as long as you don't expect a Super Mario Galaxy or Metroid Prime 3 quality here, you'd be pretty happy. The sound production though is absolutely off the hook. Chances are you won't remember the music once the game is off, but while you're playing, you'll hear a soundtrack that perfectly complements every tense situation and every moment of making your way from point A to B. Even better, however, is all the growling, hissing, and grunting these organisms do that truly drive home that Deadly Creatures reflects a cutthroat world. These critters struggle every day for their survival, and the audio makes sure you know that. That's why with two of the usual four big aspects of a game doing so well for Deadly Creatures, it's such a shame that the combat and technical issues drag down what could have been a real gem for Wii owners. It sometimes feels as though the developers couldn't decide which spectrum of the action-adventure genre to favor more with this game. Like for instance, the linear nature of the campaign restricts you from enjoying any kind of real exploration, especially when it comes to backtracking as play switches between the two characters. When you aren't traversing environments, though, you're fighting insects and arachnids more or less defending their territory. More often than not, dealing the damage requires nothing more than pressing the A button and throwing in a Wii Remote gesture or two in order to chain your combos. As the scorpion, this is pretty cool, as you throw out your pinchers, sweep with your tail, and issue some poison with your stinger. The six-legger even gains the ability to attack from beneath the soil, charge forward for a knockdown, and even execute finishers No More Heroes style. It's just unfortunate that over the course of just 5 chapters, you may quickly feel that sense of monotony, especially when going toe-to-toe with the bigger enemies that really force you to spam with the same attacks just so that they can't cheap-shot you to death. Plus, even with gesturing so you can execute a kill sequence, there's a strange lag between motioning your input and the game responding, and that doesn't help the immersion factor. As the tarantula, I wasn't really sold. Rather than relying on stealth and taking advantage of tackle and biting attacks, this 8-legged fella is all about punching its opponents, which isn't very convincing from a realistic standpoint. I did enjoy the ability to leap through the air from afar to strike unsuspecting bugs and such, along with attaching to various conveniently placed webs, but for all intents and purposes, a tarantula doesn't seem to belong in a brawler formula. It's also aggravating to have to rely on jumping away in order to avoid damage because the spider can't block like the scorpion can. This is when the framerate and camera rear their ugly heads. With the former, you're likely to notice some slowdown when 4 or more enemies appear on screen, although thankfully the pace of action is suitable for the most part. But the camera is downright broken, with its fixed angles that try to be freeform at the same time, but you can't control it. This not only leads to your view of foes being obstructed quite often, but it also manages to get stuck in extremely odd places at times. So while Deadly Creatures certainly has its fun moments, the concept of fighting with these two creatures, in my opinion, just doesn't come together quite like you'd want, and the technical issues only make the aggravating circumstances even worse. Still, when things do work well, it's satisfying to say the least. Just wait until you plunge the scorpion stinger into the mouth of a lizard. In the end, Deadly Creatures is practically a victim of its own intentions, but the game can be fun, make no mistake. I've rendered a final score of 7.8 out of 10 for this unique hardcore Wii title, and wish Rainbow Studios and THQ the best of luck with this new franchise. If sales please them enough, I have no issues with their expanding on the universe with more creatures in different parts of the world. Thanks everyone for watching, and for more information, check out my full review on ProjectCUE.com.